And once Kroc has that restaurant there, he tells the franchisee, this is how you need to operate. This is the McDonald's system that you're franchising.
Kroc and Company developed a 75-page manual that outlined every aspect of running a McDonald's operation. Nothing was left to interpretation. Burgers had to be exactly 1.6 ounces, served with a 1/4 ounce of onion, a teaspoon of mustard, and a tablespoon of ketchup. Fries had to be cut at 9/32 of an inch thick. The manual even specified how often the restaurant needed to be cleaned. Ray wanted perfection and had no tolerance for variations by local operators.
You can't give them an inch. The organization cannot trust the individual must trust the organization. Any other way would be building on a marshy foundation that could collapse at any time.
Ray Kroc was successful because he had a formula. And as soon as you have somebody monkeying with that formula, that, I think, to Ray Kroc would be the equivalent of somebody on the Ford assembly line saying, well, I think I'll put this mirror on the car a little bit differently.
In 1961, Ray Kroc and his staff came up with a way to exercise even more control over their franchisees. In the basement of a McDonald's unit outside Chicago, they opened a training center that would eventually become Hamburger University, where students earned their degree in hamburgerology and minored in fries.
The significance of Hamburger University was to make sure people did it his way. It was like going into the Army. It was like getting a GI-issued book of how to clean your rifle, how to make your bed. This was not, McDonald's was not a place for novelty and invention.
Kroc insisted that operators stick to his ironclad rules.
Marriott was a hands-on operator. Hot shop employees called him the Big Tamale, and they trembled at his white glove inspections.
He'd make these visits. It was never with appointments or anything or any advance notice. He would just show up, and the tom-toms would start beating. It was really funny to watch this, how close they kept track of his whereabouts, where he was going, what the likelihood he was going to be one of the hot shops in the next 5 or 10 minutes.
We'd ride around every day, all the shops, and then we'd have dinner in one of them, and then we'd start riding around again, and we'd stay out until about 2 o'clock in the morning to check up on everything.
Marriott reduced everything to a written standard operating procedure, one everyone had to adhere to. He focused on everything from the preparation of salad to proper attire. Some say he ran his company like the Marine Corps.
They'd line waitresses up before every meal and check to see if their shoes were shined and their uniforms were starched and their aprons were starched, and they had hairnets on. They didn't have too much makeup, and they had very little jewelry, and they couldn't use nail polish, and their seams and their stockings were straight back in the 30s, and all those things that had to be just right, or they couldn't work that day. They had to go clean up their act.
Everyone agreed Dave Thomas was a nice guy, as he outworked, outthought, and out-hustled the competition. But it could be a bit intimidating.
He did put this fear in you, and he had me in tears many times. And he used to tell people, he said, "Now don't, she starts crying at the drop of a hat, so don't upset her." But it was just the way he'd like, this isn't right, but darn it, if it was always, he was right.